I'm speaking to Simon Black, CEO of SagePay, and you've just given us the results of the SagePay e-business benchmarking report, which you split up between SMEs and large businesses. What were some of the most surprising results from this year's survey?
Yeah, this is the third year we've run the survey, and there's a number of great insights. I think two things stand out in particular that were surprising and that businesses really need to take on board. The first is particularly for smaller businesses. What has become clear this year is that pay-per-click as a way of driving traffic to your site is absolutely a waste of money. And it's quite a serious issue, because if you are spending money on pay-per-click, then the opportunity cost is that you're underinvesting in other areas where your competition may get ahead. What we found is that social media is a much more valuable way of driving traffic to a site, and that on pay-per-click you cannot, as a small business, compete with the larger businesses. And what will happen is that you're ending up spending money on secondary or tertiary search terms which aren't really going to get you the custom that you need. But the effort that you can put into social media, particularly, also it's a lower cost, but an advantage you have as a small business manager, small business owner, is that passion and authenticity that you can bring to Facebook, to Twitter, to forums, to blogs, really appeals to consumers. The second finding that stands out is around PCI Compliance. PCI stands for the payment card industry. They issue global data security standards which any business accepting credit or debit cards, Visa or MasterCard, has to comply with. And if you don't, there are huge risks, either of fines and most of all reputational risk. We found that 18% of large businesses admit, they respond in the survey saying they are non-compliant. So that means at least 18% of large businesses are not in line with the guidelines and they're running considerable risk. And for small businesses, 58% of small business don't understand what PCI is. So this is really a priority. It's a hygiene factor, but then by definition, you have to take care of it. If not, you're exposed. If you put all your focus just on growing sales, you're running a risk that really could bring down your entire business.
So going back to your first point where you talked about driving traffic to the site, and also the report highlighted a dramatic difference in online payment conversion rates between small businesses and large businesses. What are some of the strategies small businesses can take to increase the conversion rates for e-payments?
Yeah, what you have to do as a small business is really think about your brand, and not just think about a website or think about the product. Think about what you want to represent, and the particular kind of consumers that you're going to appeal to. And then where do those consumers go online? You know, where are they likely to come across the kind of media opportunities which you can then leverage? So do you have a potential consumer base that's using Facebook? Are they using Twitter? Do they read blogs? Do they go on particular forums? Or would they typically be shoppers on Amazon or eBay? So you can list your products on eBay and Amazon, and you know, we often forget a social medium are the reviews on those sites. So you can get people talking about you in the marketplaces. Facebook, you know, people love to share things. So you can shoot a video very cheaply, might be interesting images. You might have a particular product set that's very visually appealing, so you can look at sites like Pinterest or fancy that. Get people sharing stories about your business, talking about you. Or if you might be in a service business, then blogs in particular or writing articles for other online websites are really valuable opportunities.
But there are issues with sort of trust in payments for the consumer as well, aren't there?
Yeah, the UK is maturing rapidly in terms of an online market. So trust around payments is becoming less and less of a concern, but it is a key part of the overall trust questions that somebody will have in trading with a business that they've never heard of before. So if you are a smaller business and you're looking to bring new new visitors to your website, either traditional online through a laptop or PC, or even more challenging is when someone's coming to your site on a mobile experience because there's less visual real estate to play with. You want to make sure you've taken care of any concern there may be around payments, and you can do that through having a very clear stated policy, by making sure that you are PCI compliant, either directly or by outsourcing to a company like SagePay. And many SagePay customers are using the SagePay logo very prominently on their homepage to communicate to their customers, we use a highly trusted payment partner, so your payment information, your credit card details are going to be entirely safe and secure.
That sort of leads me to my last question, which is one of the findings about PCI compliance. I think the survey said that about 18% of large businesses were not PCI compliant, and almost 58% of small businesses didn't understand what being PCI compliant was. Why are those numbers so high?
I think compliance is boring. People who are running and managing businesses, especially if you're selling online, you're selling on mobiles now. I mean, it's so dynamic. There's so much to do to keep on top of your business, keep on top of trends, compete, leveraging social media, making sure navigation is easy on your website. And compliance, can just fall to the bottom of your priority list. But it's essential. If you had a physical shop, I mean, it's like trading with the door open 24 hours a day, but you're only staffing your shop 9 to 5. I mean, you just can't live like that. The vulnerability that you have is really significant. So this is a wake-up call. I think for smaller businesses, it's actually less of an issue because they're likely to be using a payment gateway, and if they're not, check with your provider or use a supplier like SagePay, where we are level 1 compliant. And then there's just a simple self-certification process for a small business to be PCI compliant. For large businesses, again, I reiterate, it's a wake-up call. I mean, you're shunning some of your responsibilities. You have to be fully secure. And the payment card industry standards are a very positive thing. It can be burdensome to go through an audit, but if you don't want to do that, just outsource, work with a professional payment service supplier, and get yourself compliant. It's important that you do know if you're an e-commerce director, an online retail manager, whatever your role, a finance director, you need to understand what the payment card industry standards are and make sure either through self-compliance or through outsourcing to a third party, you are compliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.